All right. So once again, I'm live on this 60-degree Monday night in Virginia. It's supposed to be 81 degrees on Thursday. Don't know what the hell is going on with the weather. And then it's supposed to snow on Saturday, rain and snow.
You say you're in Virginia?
Yeah. So we're gonna be up.
Yeah.
We're gonna be up to 80, as high as 83 to 84 degrees. Then we're coming back down to 40 and snow, rain, and all that on Saturday.
Oh wow.
Very interesting. Seems like a lot of cloud seeding for me, but that's okay. But I got
That's
the guy.
okay.
I got the man of the hour, TJ Lofton, with me. And we're going to talk about a lot of things, including Ohio. We're going to talk about some of these train derailments. We're going to talk about this gentrification. Actually, to tell you the truth, the train derailments actually more so than that fit into the gentrification.
Oh yeah, it's all part of the same plan.
Yeah. I
Call it
mean,
disaster economics.
all right, well, yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, brother. Matter of fact, after you finish introducing yourself, go ahead and discuss disaster economics. That's what I'm thinking about.
Well, I'm TJ Lofton, Thomas TJ Lofton, but everybody call me TJ. Celebrity car builder, real estate guru. They call me the economic futurist, meaning I see things economically that's coming down the pipeline in the future. So y'all got to be ready for me. Write it down what I talk about and get in position, because a lot of people don't know. I can be found at tjlofton.com on my website, and on my social media is Thomas TJ Lofton. That's Loftin. I call, in an effort to gentrify certain neighborhoods, a lot of people won't sell. A lot of people won't take the reasonable amount of money that they want to pay us, which is nothing. You know what I'm saying? So they got alternative ways of getting that real estate back. And I call it disaster economics. They'll come in there and start fires, create gang violence, home invasions, kill people, all in an effort to take people's real estate, put people in jail, you know what I'm saying, in an effort to take people's real estate. So I call that disaster economics, meaning they create a disaster so that they can go in there and economically benefit from it. That's where I get that from. Talk about that in my book, brother. Monetizing Gentrification, Building Black Ownership. Get it off my website.
All right. Let me show you something about gentrification here. I'm gonna show you something. I talked to you on the show before, but I want to show you something in Virginia going on. It's interesting. I'm gonna show you these laws, okay? We're gonna get a bigger, a better. All right, I'm gonna show you these laws here. I want you to see this. You understand what I'm going? I mean, they're doing a lot of it here in Virginia, so. But ain't nobody saying nothing about it, you know. Okay. I'm about to pull it up for you right now, brother. A good example to show you. Just happen to see this, you know, because I see it all the time. But it was a factory. I mean, nothing was there for like 20 years, man. Then all of a sudden they just said, we're going to rebuild this. All right, you see that, right?
Tobacco loss.
Yeah. Now you see the rent is $1,400 to $2,800, right? Oh, studio, yeah. 3-bedroom, 1-bedroom, 3-bath, 608 to 1,519 square feet. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now look at this. That's the number right there. $1,000 off, lease a 1-bedroom. You get 13 months. They can give you a month free to move in. Offer available for move-ins by 3/1/23. I mean, there's not that many people there yet. As you see, a 1x1 is $1,400, $1,700 with a $500 deposit. You know, $1,450, $1,475. A 1, you get a den, $1,500, $1,750, right? All right, $1,700, $1,750, 2 beds, 2 baths. You want a loft, you got 2x2 lofts, it's $2,000 to $2,100, right? All right. And then if you want 3x2 lofts, you got to pay $2,500 to $2,600. And then if you want 3x3 loft, you got to pay $3,000 three beds, just $2,800. Now, I'm gonna ask you a question. Don't you think some of these prices are insane?
Not for the people that's moving there. No.
Okay, now as I told you, this used to be a factory. There was a factory, it was a tobacco factory. They shut down, they gutted it out and made it. But it was the building was vacant for like 20 years. So I'm like, who's moving in here? These are not lifelong residents in Richmond, Virginia moving in this factory. These got to be some out of town moving in here.
Yep. So what's going on is you got people from California, New York, places that, California is the most expensive real estate in the country. New York's the second most expensive. So California, people getting, $1.5 million for their 2-bedroom house. You know what I mean? New York, people getting $2 million for their brownstone in the hood. So they are literally taking their money and looking for places that's cheaper. So all of these states, like where you live, Atlanta, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas, Arizona, they all fighting for the California people. You see what I'm saying? Everybody sees an opportunity to make some real money. So they advertising to California people, to New York people saying, hey, bring your 1.2 million out here. And then go much further. We got some nice condos. We got some nice houses out here. And people from those places come out there and be like, this is amazing. I'll take it. Where everybody, the local residents, is looking like, these people crazy. What the hell wrong with them? Ain't nobody gonna spend that kind of money. And that's how they getting caught up and losing.
Well, I just looked at something. Matter of fact, I'm looking at it right now. Come think about it. You got 500,000 people that have moved out of California in the last couple of years.
7 years.
Couple years.
Couple years, right. There you go. That sounds about right.
They're moving.
Yep.
They're moving, but they also part of the gentrification plot too.
They getting pushed out. They taking a gentrification. You got the people who taking a gentrification dollars, that 1.2 million on a house they paid 100,000 for, and they cashing out and they selling and they moving, leaving the state. And then you got those renters, the people who was renting properties, who was renting a nice little house for $800 a month, in a decent Compton, LA or whatever, and now all of a sudden the rent on the house is $2,500. So they bouncing, they getting up out of there. So now you got a lot of apartments being built out here in Georgia. You got a lot of new houses, something for everybody. So everybody's being pushed. When I was in LA, I was fighting to stop gentrification, and I did the calculations from a real estate perspective. I just started calculating up everything, and I had predicted, I said, man, by 2022, it ain't gonna be no more black folks in LA. And then my homeboy was like, man, nah, that's called Vision 2020. I'm like, Vision 2020, that's what they was talking about in a place called Lamert Park. The people look like me and you, the stakeholders meetings, the panelists, the people, the board, the chair members or whatever you call it. They was promoting this thing called Vision 2020. And I thought they was talking about the vision, just so we could see. But it was really all about, they planned on having black people up out of LA by 2020. So I was talking about that in 2012. Back when I was hanging out with Dr. Sabi, and me and him was going back and forth trying to figure out how exactly do they plan on getting everybody up out of California, black folks up out of California by 2020. We was thinking about them crashing airplanes and all kind of crazy stuff, but nope, it was all about the prices. They was going to price everybody out of there because they know, they look at it, they say college students, it's like, say like maybe 60 to 80% of college students don't make no more than $60,000. Okay. So they knew maybe only 1% of college graduates make over 100,000. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got a question to ask you about that. You got a good question.
Only 1% of college graduates make over 100,000. So now if only 1% of us make over 100,000, that means that a lot of people ain't gonna make it, because you got to make 125,000 just to buy a house at $500,000. Now most houses is $1 million and up now. In California, at least California, the houses start at $1 million for them used houses. Now, if you coming over here to to Atlanta, we at 500,000, 600,000 now. So it's like they realized, they said they knew all along, they set people up for failure. They said, this is gonna be the top right here. If people can't pass, if they don't make more than this, they ain't never gonna be able to live. They're gonna live wherever they want them to live. Well, people like me, I live wherever I want to live. You know, regular people who got their college graduate and they ain't doing nothing really. You know, they just got their master's degree, or, you know, they figure they hit their top where they making that 125, that 150. Them is the people who gonna be getting pushed. I got these numbers where it says from 100,000 to 400,000, you're comfortably poor. You hear what I'm saying? From 100,000 to 400,000, you comfortably poor in some states, most of these states, California, New York. So that tells you right there, people making under 400,000 is poor.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Good question. So you saying that, and I'm looking at what you're saying, but you said it's colleges 100,000. But here's the thing: most of the time, you go to college 4 years, and then you go continue education. Your loan will be 100,000 itself.
200,000-300,000.
Okay,
You know,
but let
yeah.
me say this is crazy to make you pay 100,000 for a job that might not pay me 100,000.
Well, see,
That's like being a sucker, right?
that's the setup with the colleges. That's the setup. That's where they set people up for failure. They always talking about the education and how great the education is, but they don't talk about the numbers that don't add up. You see what I'm saying? You can't be out here. They don't talk about the numbers not adding up. They don't talk about home ownership. That's not successful to them. Having your degree is successful, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you see me traveling with the College Expo speaking. I always say things like, don't be letting people tell you make $50 an hour. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this job start off at $50 an hour. This is a great job. You're gonna do well. Well, shit, how much is $50 an hour? How many hours are you gonna get with that 50? You see what I'm saying? Because you might work 2 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? So that 50 won't be nothing. I said they can tell you $150 an hour. If you're only working 4 hours a week, you ain't making no damn money. So my whole thing is they set people up for failure by giving them the wrong way of looking at things. But if they told you, okay, in order to buy a house at 500,000, you need to make 125,000, and if you don't own a house, you'll be gentrified and pushed out. Then they're gonna be like, so when the man comes in and say, oh, I'm paying $50 an hour, and they say, well, how many hours or how much is that a year? The man gonna be like, oh, well, that's only 70,000 a year. You gonna be able to look at him and say, well, that ain't enough to buy a house. So no, I can't take this job. That ain't no real money. You see what I'm saying? That's why they teach it backwards. So you won't be able to say nothing like that.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you realize one time that black people didn't go to college a lot, right? I mean, they went, but they didn't. They weren't. But after the 1970s and 80s, the thing to go to college and get you a job. But my thing is, if you just want to get a job, why not just get a job? Why you got to go to college for that? Daggone. What's the game on here? Kind of silly, right?
In school, see, I've done my research on this. You know, I've been to 25 states, over 25 states, and I've been speaking at all these schools, and I sit down to figure out what is the problem. I wrote about this stuff in my book. What is the problem? And I come to find out that education, the current education system, is wrapped around going to college. So when you in school and you sitting there in the 6th and 7th grade, they're already preparing you, telling you, oh yeah, you need to go to college. If you want to live a good life, you want to get a good job, you need to get ready to go to college. So you need to make sure you take this class, that class. They preparing you for college. So, and why do they tell people, why do they got to go to college? They said, because you're going to fail in life if you don't go to college. I talked to some teachers. I remember one time I was in a school in DC, And I told my big old car story. Yeah, I grew up, built cars in my mama's backyard. We did the rap videos and put cars in the movies and all blah, blah, blah. And the kid, I'm waiting on them to hit me up about, do you know Ice Cube and all of that? You know what the first question they wanted to know from me? So you didn't go to college. I'm like, what? Like, where'd that come from? They said, the teacher said, they said, no, you didn't go to college because you didn't say nothing about it. They said, if you don't go, they said, our teacher told us that we're going to fail in life. Nobody's going to make it if they don't go to college. But yeah, here you are talking about your success out your mama's
Bill
backyard.
Gates was a dropout.
Huh?
Bill Gates was a dropout.
Absolutely. Zuckerberg, everybody dropped out. All them cats. Jobs, all them cats dropped out of college. So it all boils down to it. I asked the teacher, I said, what's up with that? Why would you tell them that? And the teacher, not just one teacher, but several teachers across the country told me they will lose their job if they don't teach them about going to college. They can't tell them students, oh, well, you a badass. You need to go and take a welding class. You need to go get a trade so you can go do construction. They'll lose their job if they keep it 100 and say something like that. You feel me? If it ain't got nothing to do with college, they don't talk about it. They even wrapped the education system around. They get paid for people who do go to college. And if they not going to college, they're going to pull money away from those schools. You feel me? So them teachers have to teach going to college. So now that they teaching them that they got to go to college and they're going to fail in life, they will not take regular classes. They will not take trade. They don't want to take trade classes. Just like I went to my school where I graduated from, Centennial High School in Compton. You know, we got Dre to come in there and give $20 million, $10 million back then to the Compton School District. So I was able to get that money, some of that money, and go redo my high school automotive class. And you can Google all of that, you know what I'm saying? And that school, matter of fact, it's on my social media, my Instagram. You know, electric cars. We got electric cars in the box that came out the box with for them to learn $75,000 electric car. They could take it apart and figure out how to put it back together. I mean, it's already apart. It's in the box. So then we got you know, just state of the art school. And I was just up there last week, man. And it was not even, it was barely like one of us in there. You know what I mean? In that one class I was there, it was one female, one sister in there outside of the, you know, hundreds of black people. I mean, hundreds of other race, Hispanics. And I'm like, we is not taking these classes. Mr.
Why are we
Ayo,
not taking the classes, brother?
because they know they're gonna fail in life. They've been told they're gonna fail in life if they don't take these college prep classes. You know, in high school, they don't have no room for auto mechanic class. You know what I'm saying? You got a whole lot of students wanting to take that class, but they making it very difficult. You know, I had it set up in Dominguez High School and Centennial High School, and they shut down Dominguez High School auto class. It's like, what the heck was that all about? They don't want it competing against college. You feel me? So it's people like me. I come in there with my story and talking about how great meet I did and all my friends is doing and all these other people that went to this school. Everybody's out here painting cars. A guy who shoots paints, you know, shooting a paint job, candy paint is kind of like an anesthesiologist. They pulling in about 7 figures a year. You know what I'm saying? So to compare a candy paint guy to an anesthesiologist, that pisses off a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is the facts is the facts. The truth is the truth. So luckily for me, I was able to convince them to get that auto. We have a paint booth at Centennial High School in Compton. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is that's why I'm out here speaking. I need people to take those classes because they in high demand. We got to learn about high demand young people versus people that don't have no kind of demand. They ain't got no kind of value in them. You know, you got your doctorate, but who needs a doctor? We don't need no doctor of math, or we don't need no, you know, whatever these degrees are. We don't need that. Elon Musk told us that. The Google guys told us that, and they went and created their own schools. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, at what point is the school system gonna realize that this don't make no sense? You know, so fast forward the story. Thus comes in gentrification, because now people, instead of trying to fix the problem, they just pull up, anchor, and move. You feel me? You got people who mama live in Compton. Their mama live in Compton that own their house, but all 4 of their children live out of state because they got these jobs where they can't afford to buy a house. They can't afford to start a family in California, so they all move and go live out of state because they jobs that they found. Then most of the jobs ain't in California. They ain't in New York. They ain't hiring us in those states. And people just, I'm gonna move to Georgia. I'm gonna move to North Carolina because I can get work out there. You know what I mean? And thus here comes the stay-at-home online businesses. They're pushing a whole lot of online businesses, but here's the problem with online businesses. That opens the door for them to say, okay, more people are staying home and they homeschool and they starting their own businesses from home. So, okay, well, let's raise the price of the houses now. Because people can afford to buy bigger houses because they don't need a brand new car to commute back and forth to work. They don't need to buy all them fancy clothes to commute to go to work to be working in. And now they just doing an online business. So now they can afford to put some of that money towards the mortgage. So they start buying bigger houses so that they can have nice offices inside of their house. You know what I'm saying? Now that people starting to realize that, because you got to remember, man, we're being watched. Everything we do, we're being watched. They know how many people going to school. They know how many people starting businesses. They know how many people doing whatever it is we doing. They know what the home sales every month is for the last 20 years. And now all of a sudden, when one thing drops, they want to know why did that drop 5%? And then they say, oh, well, home sales went up 5%. They're like, what's that about? Oh, well, more people starting home-based businesses. Boom, raise the cost of the houses up, raise the interest rate, you know? So I think we're being set up. Honestly, I think people are being set up with these online businesses based on the fact that so many people are going into online businesses, and you got to look at it like this. If all these people, or if so many people are starting online businesses, that's pulling people away from buying a brick and mortar. You feel me? Think about it. If you had a real business, an original business, you got to have a brick and mortar to run a regular business. But now with these new age businesses, stay at home, and you can drop ship through that person. You ain't got to ship nothing, and you can order your stuff through these people, and you ain't got to make nothing. You don't need the t-shirt presses. You don't need the book press. We do all of that. So now all of a sudden they setting you up for failure because it's so easy. You know what I'm saying? It's so easy to pull in 6 figures a year from home doing drop shipping and online this. And then the next thing you know, when soon as they go in and buy up all those houses and all the commercial buildings and raise the price on everything, now they're going to come back and flip the switch and cut off regular online businesses. You feel me?
Okay, so the work from home thing is, you saying, more of a setup.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think they're doing with all the brick and mortar, buying it up, right?
Yeah, they buying it all back. They now, for the first time in years, they have enough money to go buy up all the land on the planet for the most part. You feel me? You figure, man, you look at it like this, those oil barons, those oil barons, let's say they make $1 billion a year. They may make, some of the smaller companies may make $2 billion a year, and some of the bigger companies may make $50 billion a year in oil sales, right? So I'm just being hypothetical. So now you look up, they got a hell of a huge overhead. But now you look up, you got cats sell a video game named Candy Crush for $5.9 billion. Elon Musk, they make this, he buy Twitter for $44 billion. They like, whoa, this digital, this electronic money is a lot of money, and they raking it, they don't have no real overhead. So now they got a whole lot of spending power. So they say, okay, we see what people are doing, they losing money, so let's use this money to buy up all the land, buy up all the real estate, so that we can control what people do. So eventually they're going to flip the switch and turn it off, and people going to go running back looking for a job. You see what I'm saying? And then when they were looking for a job, you coming on their terms, because guess what? You ain't starting no business. And if you are starting a business, think about it. If I own all the real estate on this side of town, and you own all the real estate on that side of town, and if I tell you, you know what I'm finna do, brother? King BJ, you know what I'm finna do?
What you gonna do?
I'm not finna rent my stuff out like that. I'm gonna tell them I only want partnerships. So if you coming in here and you say, hey man, you saved up enough money from your online business and you ready to start you a vegan restaurant and you got $1 million to come in here, I'm gonna be like, okay, well, if you want to rent this building for me, this restaurant I got over here that's closed, if you want to get that building, I want 30% ownership of that restaurant that you about to open up. And you're gonna be like, what? They're gonna be like, what? And then all of a sudden they're gonna be like, forget TJ, he crazy. They're gonna go over there to you. Okay, let me call this other guy, see what he talking about. That's King BJ. BJ like, well shit, if TJ want 30%, I want 35. But I want ownership too, because we both working together. You feel me? We know we control the market and it is what it is. Y'all want to make some money? I'm a new partner. Or y'all ain't renting my building. And you ain't gonna get no real estate nowhere. Because me and BJ own up all the real estate here. You feel me? So that's what they're doing. So BlackRock, Vanguard, Google, Facebook, Apple, they all on the land grab. They buying up all the land they can get all over the world. Valuable real estate. They buying all the prime real estate. Microsoft, all them tech companies they having a land grab, and that's why I'm so against people. Oh, they pushing us. They come in our community, pushing stocks, pushing Bitcoin, pushing this and pushing that for us to go invest in those things. Come get in this vehicle. This is where the money at. But those people taking that vehicle money and they come in your neighborhood, buying up your neighborhood with your money. They using your stock dollars to buy up your neighborhood. So what am I saying? I'm saying we don't overstand the long game. When I hear a good idea, when somebody comes to me with a good idea, as a business owner, as a founder, you got to look at my background as I helped found the whole industry. I helped to build out a whole industry brick by brick. So I understand cooperative economics and I overstand. So when you come to me with a good idea, I have to sit back and think about it. If I do that, how many people am I going to have to let go? How many of these brothers with these felonies that this is the first job they had in their life and they ain't been to jail in over 10, 15 years because of me and these good jobs or these entrepreneurship opportunities? So I got to think about that. If I put this in place, who's going to lose their job? And is it going to take jobs out of the community? Where most people don't do that. They just nosedive. Oh man, this is great. Let's do it. It's going to be popping. Let's do it. And then all of a sudden, years later, they be like, wow, we screwed up. We should have never did that. You know what I'm saying? They don't realize how things start small and then they grow and then they come back to bite them. You feel me? And I say that about college. I say that about, when we start putting these kids in college, we had a whole lot of brick and mortars back in the days and parents was paying cash for their kids to go to college. It wasn't no big deal. But now all of a sudden, it's like, we ain't got too many more brick and mortars no more. And these kids don't want to come back to the community and run dad's muffler shop or dad's plumbing shop or dad's carpentry shop or dad's paint shop or mom's sewing shop. You feel me? They don't want nothing to do with that. So there goes all the vacant buildings that are being sold. Black businesses going out of business left and right because we're being baited away from real education and being sent into places that ain't helping us. So me as an investor, business owner, seasoned business owner, I sit back and look at that and I'll be like, nah, we ain't doing that. That ain't gonna help us. That's setting us up for failure in the long run. You guys so excited about the money that you made. Yeah, you made $1 million in 2 years and all of that. But while you was over here making this $1 million online, I'm looking at Apple showed up in the community and bought 40 properties, 40 big giant properties. I'm looking at Google over there buying up all that side of town, but you so caught up and happy that you over here pulling down $2,000 a day on the internet. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm looking like you ain't gonna be able to expand. If they flip, they telling us, they said, I know you hear in the news, the president always said, yeah, we don't want them the Russians gonna come over here with an EMP pulse and knock out all the electricity. I know you've seen that, right?
Yeah.
So what happens when they knock out the electricity? What happens to your online business?
It's over.
It's a wrap. It's done. You done. You losing money now. Now all of a sudden we got to look at. See, they be setting us up. So I look at certain things. Do you remember? The phrase net neutrality?
Yeah.
Bill Gates and Steve Jobs was fighting to stop the government from taxing and messing with the internet. The government wanted to come in there and say, no, we want to take over the internet, and we want to stop certain people from having websites and stop certain people from being able to go online and pull in 6 or 7 figures. Well, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates both knew that we need to continue to set people up and get them to be totally dependent on this here. Once we can get them totally dependent on it, where they can't do nothing else, then we can take it back. But if you come in there and tax them too soon, they ain't gonna get dependent on it. They ain't gonna want nothing to do with it, because we taking up what they want, 30% of your income now. You see how what's his name? Amazon, Bezos stepped in, and now he hammering people. He want 30% of your profit, and he continues to keep raising what he wants because he keeps continuing to run people out of business. The more people run out of business, that's capitalism. That's the motto of America. You know, Walmart comes into a small town with a bunch of moms and pops. They come in there, it'd be 1,000 moms and pop stores everywhere. They open up, boom, every month they losing 50 shops, 50 small moms and pops, because they didn't drop their price down to next to nothing. So all of a sudden, that 1,000 black mom and pop businesses gone now. Walmart turns around and close that store down, and you got to drive an hour away to the next Walmart to get stuff. You see what I'm saying? That's strategies. That's what they do. Once they close down those businesses, they raise their prices back up. So it's the same model, different people, but a different look, but it's the same model. Because I'm a seasoned investor, I can see it clearly, crystal clear, and I know you don't never let them get too much power. That's why I was like looking at Amazon. I'm like, Amazon just gaffling up businesses left and right. I'm looking at these companies. I'm looking at what they're doing with their money, and I'm like, you don't never want them to get in control. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're moving the restrictions away. That's stopping these people from getting in control, getting monopolies. They open the door to allow them to have a monopoly. You feel me? So I'm looking at, I don't ever want to be dependent. Like if you look on Amazon, you don't see my book. You ain't gonna see my book on Amazon. I mean, if you see it on there, it's gonna be like none for sale. It ain't coming from me. You know, it'd be like 0 in stock. You know, because I understand we cannot afford to allow him to get too big. Just like they look at us and say we can't afford for them to get too big either. Because if they get too big, everybody's gonna want to be like BJ. Everybody's gonna want to be like TJ. You see what I'm saying?
Let me say something. You said overstand. That's the right word. It's not understand, because under is underneath. It's overstand.
Yeah, like if you up under the table, how you know what's going on? You up under the table, you don't even know who in the room. You hear people, but have you seen them? Nope. Did you see that person? Nope, never saw them. You heard what they was talking about? Yeah, I heard, but I didn't see no faces. Well, how do you know what's going on? So all of a sudden, if you understand, be like, well, I was sitting at the table, but I really didn't see. I didn't get an understanding of what was happening. But then the cat who was standing upstairs looking down on everybody, he had a clear view of the whole room. He knew what everybody was wearing. He knew exactly how many people was in the room, who came in. So he could say, I got an understanding of what just happened here. I can see the big picture. The people from the inside of the room be like, I had an understanding, but there was so many people in the room, I can only see the people that were surrounding me. I couldn't see who was behind them. You see what I'm saying? But the cat with an understanding, he got a crystal clear picture, perfect view of what exactly is happening. And I have a overstanding picture, crystal clear view of what's going on with gentrification, what's going on with education, what's going on with real estate, what's going on with entrepreneurship, what's going on with these robots, with the technology. I can see it from an overstanding perspective as a business owner, as a seasoned business owner, of overstanding that I have to make moves that I will never get tripped up and get locked out, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. Let me play this video for you. Won't you hear this?
This
Well,
is
they sure
Dabu 7. We're finding out that fire departments are now responding to an explosion at a manufacturing business in Ohio this afternoon. This is on Alexander Road. The business listed as a location that deals with brass and bronze alloys. So it's a metal manufacturer. It's unclear what caused this explosion or if there's anyone injured in it. But you can see here there is a massive plume of smoke, and no doubt there's probably some harmful chemicals in this cloud of smoke. So I would say anyone around this area, use caution right now. With everything that we just witnessed coming out of East Palestine, Ohio, it doesn't look like the officials are going to be putting any alerts out for the people. So we're doing our best here to try to get an alert out for the folks out there in Bedford. This is near Cleveland. Go over here to the wind map real quick. You can see that out of this area of Bedford, it's 7 miles per hour, pushing to the south, right out of the area, and then to the southeast. And oddly enough, this plume is going to be pushing down toward Youngstown, right below Youngstown, and that's East Palestine, right there on that border area. So that's currently coming off the lake out of Cleveland. This is very near Cleveland, closer to Cleveland than any other. Just Bedford. You've got a plume of smoke heading your way or around in your area. So if you know anyone here, reach out, let them know. This is the latest. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more. Follow me also on Dabu7.
So that's that. So we already had that with the derailments, and this is something else that just happened in Bedford. I just learned about today. But it seemed like to me, Ohio, the FEMA said they're gonna send some federal assistance there tonight. But to me, it seemed like they moving people out in areas.
That's a lot of farmland, a lot of land, a lot of space. They want those people up out of there, so they create those situations because all over the country you got fires and train derailments and warehouses burning up with chemicals. Everything's chemical. It ain't never that was they make cabinets and doors. It's like chemicals. So them smoke, them clouds in the air, they got them chemicals, and now them chemicals have become airborne. And it's like, I seen the cat say, man, he will be packing his family up and moving up out of there. Wherever it is, we talking about, they got people 5 hours away. That wind is blowing that fire, and then that rain is hitting it, and then it's dropping down. Now you got birds falling out the sky in places, And
it's like birds falling out the sky in Mexico.
Yeah, because it's like a nuclear bomb hit, man. That shit is compatible to a nuclear bomb. When it comes down to that fallout cloud, that cloud is toxic, and it's killing people. It's killing the birds. It's killing the fish. It's killing the animals. So what do you think it's doing to the people?
Well, they told the people they can go back and drink the water. It's safe for you.
They always gonna say that, especially when they look like us. Remember, their goal is to knock off 7.5 billion people. You know what I'm saying? And get it down to 500,000. That's their goal.
Now let me ask you a question about that. They want to get it down to 500,000, but they blew up the Georgia gas though. Maybe they don't want you to see that no more.
All of a sudden, out of all the years have been there. But you know what they doing? They blew it up to bring exposure to it, to let you know this is what they're doing. Because they said, think about it. They want you to know exactly what they're doing because they've always told us what they're doing. People don't pay attention to that. You feel me? So they blow up them guide stones, and now all of a sudden, because most people didn't even, what the hell is a guide stone? What are you talking about? What does that mean? What is that? I don't know nothing about a guide stone. So now they blew it up. Now it's all in the news. Now the people who put it in the news, they telling you, oh, it said that to keep the population on Earth at 500,000. See what I'm saying? So now they brought exposure to that. That's what that was all about. They want you to know, okay, yeah, wow, they about to wipe out a lot of people, and they want to get to the 500,000. Because if they'd have never blew them guys stones up, people would just be like, I don't know. Now they talking about, we don't know who put them guy stones there. Them guy stones was there a long time. We don't know where they came from. They was just there. We think aliens did it. You know what I'm saying? So now all of a sudden they got blown up all these years later. It's like,
hey man, they've been talking about a lot of UFO sighting lately too, man. So-called UFO balloons and all that stuff. That ain't nothing but a bunch of crap too, but you know.
well, you know, it's they, you know, they like 30 to 50 years ahead of us in technology. They got technology, man. Like I know because I was dealing with them Japanese, and I was shipping cars overseas, you know, dealing with the people from the Emirates and Dubai and all of that. And I remember my homegirl was in Dubai, and she was on the phone years ago, and she said, oh, I'm sorry, I dropped my Bluetooth. And I said, what the hell's a Bluetooth? She said, oh, that's out here. They got that out here. Y'all ain't gonna have it for another couple years in America. It's this thing that they connect to the phone and you put it in your ear and you can hear people talking. I was like, I would never want no shit like that. And then all of a sudden, guess what happens? It makes it to America and I'm over here. I lost my Bluetooth. Let me go get another one. You know what I'm saying? So the technology in other countries, they get it first. China get all the technology first. Japan get all the technology first. You know what I'm saying? I know cats who had an iPhone 2 years before we had them.
What do you think about that, man? It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting, isn't it?
You say it's interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's absolutely interesting. The problem is, if everybody can realize that who our community leaders really are, and these cats ain't crazy, you see what I'm saying? Like people look at me and I'm talking about what I'm saying. They like 30 years ahead of technology. Well, why would they want to do that? They want to make all the money they can. But if they believed it and said, that makes sense, let me reposition myself. Let me ask more questions. Simple. What's it going to cost you? Let me ask more questions. Before I go do this, let me research more. Instead of just jumping in and doing, you know what I'm saying? We will be a lot better off. But our community leaders, the fake leaders, is not teaching this kind of stuff.
The fake leaders, that's right.
But me, people like myself, oh, I'm talking about it. Y'all talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about certain things. And the people got to realize just because somebody got 10 million followers don't make them a real leader. Don't mean they got good news. You feel me? Just because they on TV don't mean we're going to get the real news. It's like, you notice how when social media came out, like you see they got a war with TikTok, right? They can't stand TikTok. Huh?
Now go ahead. Go ahead. They can't stand TikTok, I know.
Yeah, they hate TikTok because TikTok put everything. They show everything, right? It was funny how, you know, they've been playing with my social media. Like I was on Instagram and Facebook. I could never go viral. I'm putting the best of the best content on there. I'm downloading some amazing stuff. I'm talking about stuff years before it ever happened. And it ain't nothing on, it ain't never, I never would do more than 50 people on looked at a video, or I go live and never had more than 10 people on my live. But I'm looking at the little girl shaking her butt. She got 1 million followers, or the guy over there talking about his religion. He got 2 million followers. And I'm like, I'm dropping major game. But then all of a sudden when TikTok comes, I say, forget it. 10 years later, I said, let me go on over to TikTok. Man, I go to TikTok and I go viral. Woof. I'm like the man instantly. Like, you know, like, whoa. That video, when 1 million, it hit, like I got a video right now at 2.2 million. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I ain't never went that high before. But trip this out. On TikTok was doing very well for me. Instagram wasn't. All of a sudden, IG just blew up all of a sudden. It's like they pulled the restrictions off of me after 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, boom, videos, 5,500, 19,000, 7,000, 15,000, 50,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing different? Nothing. Nothing. You feel me? But my point is, I see what they doing, and I overstand. Okay, so now Instagram is trying to pull me away from TikTok. So as soon as I go back over to Instagram, because Instagram is balling out of control now. So now it's like, oh, my TikTok views dropped. You know what I'm saying? They don't want me on TikTok. But it's just interesting, man. It's just really interesting. So we gotta understand we can never let them get in control. In fact, I'm telling people we need to get ready to start back printing magazines. You see what I'm saying? We got to start back printing magazines and putting our information in them, because we ain't gonna be able to get our stuff out in a minute. They gonna flip the switch. They control everything, and we ain't gonna be able to get real information out in a minute. You see what I'm saying? They flooding the airways with all these people doing all this weird stuff. The crime actors and what do you call it? Anyway, you know, all this weird stuff going on.
Crisis actors.
Crisis
All right.
actors.
Let me pull this
Crisis
up for you. Let me pull this up for you because you just brought it up a minute ago.
You got the crisis actors, you got the crisis Instagram people, the fake people. You know, go ahead, brother.
Gotcha. I'm playing.
People on and bring in an expert. Because as this happened, the temperature difference around particular disaster, and that has allowed them to produce toxic airborne chemicals. Now, the derailment happened about a week ago, but we've seen growing concern about not just the air and how the wind is impacting this, but also soil and water contaminants across the region here. People are now complaining of headaches, feeling sick. And this is a situation where Ohio's Department of Natural Resources estimates 3,500 fish were killed.
Amy, this is a situation where it is going to affect so many different people. The public health professor, Dana Barr, joins us now. Winds are howling in East Palestine. That's right. Again, in the Ohio River Valley area, we have wind gusts over 40 miles per hour. Talk to us a little bit about the influence of those winds in the wake of this disaster.
Yeah, the wind direction can really affect the plumes of chemicals and how they move and what direction they go into, what communities they affect. It definitely has an impact on trying to get some of those chemicals up from the ground and moving them out of the way or moving them into other communities where they can potentially be dangerous as well.
I mean, it's been making headlines here. Some of the folks there locally are sharing pictures of dead animals, dead fish, frogs there in the local streams. What does that say here about the multitude of impacts you could be dealing with across the board, from health concerns of humans to potential wildlife ecology impact?
Right. Well, these chemicals are very toxic chemicals. They're carcinogenic. They are teratogenic, meaning that they cause harm to fetuses. You can see an immediate impact with animals and wildlife being killed. What will be interesting to me is to see the long-term impact in the area. I mean, right now, the EPA and other authorities are doing all they can to get rid of the chemicals through controlled burning, but that's producing a lot of particulate matter and other toxic fumes, as you mentioned before. I think the idea is if they can contain it well and keep monitoring it over time, they can reduce the impact on the community and the wildlife. But this is a huge spill, and so the ability to contain it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yes, it will be. And boy, that is a community that I'm very familiar with. I've driven through East Palestine on my way to Pittsburgh several times. What I'm curious about, though, is the complex environmental disaster that is going to, this is obviously going to require remediation and a long-term survey. My question is there anything that stands out that is going to be important in the research element to all of this?
Yeah, I think it's really important that people get there and try and understand if there are any health outcomes that are being associated with some of these exposures. I think there needs to be repeated monitoring of the area, not just ecologically, but also human monitoring of it. There needs to be some sort of registry where people can log any health complaints they have. I think this is going to be an area that's going to be researched for a long period of time, and we really don't know the long-term impact on the community.
We appreciate your insight and the time here on Fox Weather, Public Health Professor Dr. Dana Barr.
I'm Amy's Welcome to page is on the way. So make sure to subscribe to stay updated.
All right. What do you think, man?
I think now we see why all those people
Covered.
sitting in bomb shelters. You hear me?
You know, I'm gonna show you something about this town that's very interesting. I was just looking at this the other day. Let me see if I can pull it up. They might not have it on YouTube though. You know that they might find it on BitChute or something like that because these guys, Ohio. What the hell? All right. Ohio East, was it East Palestine? I think it's called a pallet.
Bomb shelters.
No, it's a pallet program they're doing. Here it is. I got it for you.
On East.
Here it is. I got it for you. I had to find it.
Okay.
Palestine is known as the place to be. It's way ahead of the curve on a program to provide better treatment for anyone in the event of an emergency. I learned how it works and how it can help everyone in East Palestine. My ID provides quick medical information for emergency responders. Darlene Chapman is the outreach coordinator for this project, and she's an EMT.
If they're in a situation where they can't tell us or they don't have any family around, this is something that would make my life easier.
My ID works by taking a camera phone and pointing it at a QR code. It provides valuable medical information such as allergies, breathing difficulties, or other conditions, so you get proper treatment and care.
If anybody sees the QR code, you'll be able to scan this and get the information. So it helps that person, not necessarily just here, but anywhere in the nation.
There are a few options for My ID: a bracelet, key fob, necklace, or attachment on your watch band. You can choose the one which fits your lifestyle best. That's up to you. Orders will start in January. The fire department has already collected $5,000 in donations to help.
That's our ultimate goal. We want to be able to give this for free to the citizens and provide them with that extra layer of care so that we can better treat them.
The offer includes Unity Township, which is served by the East Palestine Fire Department. These items cost around $20 each. You can even buy it for yourself. The fire department is hoping you'll be willing to wear it.
My goal is to have 100% of our residents and the citizens we serve in the township to have one of these and be working with them to make sure that we can treat them better and provide the best service that we can.
There's a 3-year plan to get My ID going across the village and make it available to all 4,007.
Well, that's some crazy. That's crazy, ain't it, man?
Yep. I don't want to be.
That could be part of the plan that why they had this go on too. This could really help the plan.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's like the COVID, the vaccine thing. You know, the pandemic. They wanted everybody to take this bad stuff so that they can track everybody. So all of a sudden they come up with the thing and everybody go running down there to get it, right? You got to create the disaster to make people come want it. Just like the robots. They could not bring the robots in here, right? Because think about it, robots start taking people's jobs, they're gonna start filing lawsuits and people gonna start protesting the jobs because they don't want the robots. The robots is taking jobs, so people gonna protest the companies. So all of a sudden now they create a situation where nobody wants to go to work because people got to stand 6 feet apart and they scared of each other. So now they begging people, bring the robots in, let the robots do it. So now they bring the robots in with no problem. You know what I'm saying? Since nobody wants to work, you watch the news, everybody talking about, it's hard to find truck drivers. Nobody wants to work. Every time I watch the news, nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to work. And now all of a sudden, here come the robots to save the day. But that was always the whole plan in the first place, bring the robots in. So it's the same thing with these shots. It's the same thing with those badges, you know. You got to be careful. They want you to accept it. They want you to come asking for it, begging for it.
Hmm. I got it. Oh, here it is. I got it for you. I found it. I had to go back and find it. Because you were talking about tracking, stuff like that. So I had to go back and find it. I'm not going to really read the whole article, but I want you to Children's Health Defense. Anybody that's on this show, go to Children's Health Defense. Go pull this article up. This is because it's going to start on April 1st. Here's how the government is tracking the unvaccinated. And they're doing it through an ICD through your doctor. And the program was implemented on April 1st, 2022, and was adopted by most clinics and hospitals across the U.S. until January 2023. Under this program, doctors at clinics and hospitals have been instructed to ask patients about their status, and which is then added to electronic or medical record of the diagnostic code known as the International Classification of Diseases 10th Revision ICD-10 code, so that they may be tracked inside and outside of the medical system. These new codes are part of the government plan to implement medical tyranny using vaccine passports and digital IDs. They're also tracking non-compliance with this. So really, you allowing doctors and medical practice to overstep their bounds. They shouldn't really be doing this, but this is the same thing as that little pilot program I told you. This is the plan. Yeah. So just want people to be aware. And this is Copyright Act of 1976. This is not meant to infringe. This is for education, research, teaching purposes only. Copyright Act of 1976. All right, go ahead.
You know, I see the things that they're doing, and it boils down to it, just like with everything else. If you don't want to do stuff, if you don't want to get caught up in that system further and further, you know, honestly, and I know people are going to look at me kind of crazy when I say it, we're going to have to end up going back to be like the Amish. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm just being honest with you. The Amish used to look crazy, but now they looking more and more appealing. You know what I'm saying? Like they doing their own thing. They off the grid. They ain't worried about nobody, nothing. They ain't getting caught up in all of this stuff. And I'm like, man, because I'm not doing this and I'm not taking that and I ain't registering for nothing. So I saw how they did. I saw what they did during that pandemic. People lost their jobs. People got locked up. All type of crazy stuff was happening, you know. And I said, man, a lot of that stuff didn't affect me because I got my own business, you know. And I'm like, woof. I was just looking at people stressed out that they was about to quit their job and they didn't know what they was gonna do. And I'm saying my whole point is we got to think ahead, you know. So we overstand it. So what's the overstanding?
Because they could always try it again. Now,
yeah. So
now here's the
thing. The solution that
this
we got
time they're not trying. Now look,
we need a solution.
They're getting off of climate now. I mean, they're getting off of COVID, right? They getting off of COVID, but now they talking about climate lockdown. Now they talking about climate lockdown now, possibly. So they're gonna switch the game up again.
The best thing we can do, man, is go back to the trades, learn how to barter. You know what I'm saying? Grow our food underground. That's what I was saying earlier. I see why these other people getting these bomb shelters now. Because think about it. People, they talking about leaving they town and they gonna move away because they can't breathe the air. But the mother cats, they like, shit, let's go to the bomb shelter. They got air down there. They got artificial air down there that they cool. You know what I'm saying? You own the bomb shelter, you got air and food and water down there, self-contained. You ain't worried about what's going on with all this toxic air floating around. You know what I mean? It just makes a lot more sense. But when you got trades and you know how to barter, you ain't gotta be a part of that system. That's like them Amish over there making everything. They got a whole lot. They ain't nothing but trade based.
Some of them don't even drive cars, man.
Nah, they trying to stay out the system.
Yeah. Yeah. The government actually went after them for a little bit, but they tried to take some land from them and stuff, but the FDA tried to go after them.
Yeah, they know how to fight though. They know the game. See, look at the massive Oakland power outages. Boy, I tell you, you got people who they want to do all that digital stuff, and they hitting them, giving them samples of what that power outage is gonna look like. You know what I'm saying? You can be think about it. You a billionaire.
Power was knocked out to tens of thousands of drawbridges in Alameda.
Go ahead. Go ahead. So you guys say. Oh.
Say what now?
You say you could be a billionaire. You say you could be a billionaire. No, you said you could be a billionaire.
Yeah, I'm saying you could be a billionaire. All of a sudden, power outage, you ain't gonna be able to access your money. Think about it. You're gonna be worth $2 billion in your bank account digitally, but all of a sudden, power outage happen. You only worth what's in your pocket now until they turn your money back on. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever you got in your safe at the house. Other than that, it's a done deal. So we can't get caught up.
They might not want to turn it back on.
That's my point. That's my point. They telling us you better get one of these generators. And now I'm looking at people, they clowning people. Oh, you don't need the gas generators. We got electric generators now. I was like, man.
Well,
they hit an
electric generator. What that's gonna do? What that's gonna do if you goddamn can't cut it on?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's about, oh, you need electric. You better have a solar power. But then you see they trying to block the sun out with all this smoke.
Let me play the video.
Go ahead.
Let me play this video. We will get to that.
The half open for a toppling fix.
At the International Airport to a standstill. Here's a look now at the outage map. You can see the area shaded in red where customers are affected. PG&E says 54,000 customers were impacted. KTVU's Alyssa Harrington standing by live in Oakland now. Late Tales. Alyssa.
Well, I'm on High Street near the Nimitz Freeway where just minutes ago lights came. If you look the other side of the freeway, you can still in the property, but definitely still causing a big mess here. We've seen lights out, trying to get around town. Some business had to close, and even the airport was impacted. I want to show you some video from the Oakland International Airport a little bit earlier today. Our outage to extend to counters in, and the security was so long it stretched all the way outside. An airport spokesperson said Terminal 1 was down to one open at security screening, and Terminal 2 had 2. Oakland Airport Connector service was also impacted, limited service. Some travelers we talked to were upset at their best.
I missed their flight today, so we'll see if I have to come back hours or. Worried about I have up in the morning.
I did reach out to PG&E, and a spokesperson sent me a statement in an email saying the cause of the outage is a transformer fire within the substation, and we are working closely with fire officials to make the situation safe. Now, PG&E said they are in the process of restoring power, and they hope to have it all back on by 6:30, so within the next 30 minutes or so. I was told that power is completely back on in Alameda. That's according to the Alameda Municipal Power. And the cause of the fire at that substation remains under investigation. Reporting live in Oakland, I'm Alyssa Harrington, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, just such an...
That sounds like so much crap, man. They don't know why it happened and all that. What do you think about it, man? They don't know. They don't know why it happened. It just happened, huh? Just happened out there.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Ain't that like the second time that happened to an airport in the last month or so?
Last week, JFK Airport.
But when was the last time that happened before JFK?
They had people that was flying 16 hours away, right, and had to travel back because the power outage halted international travel.
Yeah,
Ain't that
because
crazy?
think about it. These is tests. You ain't never heard of the electricity. I don't want to say never. That ain't common. Airports got backup power. That stuff will blink. Boom. Next thing you know, boom, it's right back on again because backup power kicks in. That ain't how that work, man. They things like that, man, is too powerful. You can't afford to have electrical outage. They backup power got backup power. You feel me? so for them to have a backup power,
I'm gonna tell you
a
something.
problem and the power just straight up cut
I'm gonna
off.
tell you something I learned
That's
from
a
an
test. Huh?
I was in the gym one day, right? And I was talking to this electrician guy. And he was telling me, get this, TJ. He said, you really shouldn't have a Tesla connected to your home. I said, oh, I don't have one, but why not? He was like, because the grid is not meant to sustain a Tesla in your house. That's why they have the charging stations. He said, and if you have that stuff in your house, you could actually, if everybody had a Tesla and it's straining the grid, you could cause a brownout, not a blackout, a brownout. And he was like, the beginning of the morning, 4 to 6 a.m. and stuff like that is your highest time for the grid, right? Midday is fine. Usually your grid is at its lowest capacity at night because most people sleep, less lights are on. He said that backup energy is supplied to hospitals, factories, industry. So he was saying that if you keep on doing that, you'll cause a possible brownout, right? So what he's saying is they got people fooled when they're telling you to be on the grid that much because you actually do it. But he like they are doing that too as a test to dry run to see how far that people can go. But people are not gonna sit there and think the electrical outages are normal all the time. So that's the beauty of that.
Yeah, I believe that. Everything's a setup. I don't like that they want to roll everybody over to electric cars because you notice how they killed the brother in Buffalo, New York. That is
he did the water power car.
Yeah, that is becoming
that was
so
a setup.
common. That is becoming so common that people are making cars that run off of water and stuff like that. So that is why they want to roll us over to electricity. You see what I'm saying? If they can do that, if they can get us, you ain't gonna be able to put no water in your gas tank if it's all electric. You put some water inside that electric tank, it's gonna boom, short it out. So that's why they create technology is not created for better convenience. Technology is created to keep us locked out. You see what I'm saying? People like me come in and figure stuff out and make things easier. And then all of a sudden they change and upgrade the motors and they change and upgrade things to make it where we can't do it. So it's too many people like me that know how to work on a car. So they come up and they create electric cars. They say, well, TJ ain't never had electric car classes. He ain't gonna know how to do that. He's a top mechanic for automobiles, but eventually they're gonna try to ban all gas cars. Everybody got to have an electric car. You see what I'm saying? So is TJ gonna know how to work on an electric car? You know what I'm saying? Yes. But we don't need no electric cars. We need to stay away from electric cars. And we don't need everybody trying to buy one because it's a setup for the future.
Well, that's very interesting. Well, before I depart, I want to say something.
Okay.
It showed you. Remember that movie, them cartoons we used to watch called The Jetsons?
Mm-hmm. We already there.
It can happen.
We there.
It can happen.
They build no cities in California right now. Dubai is being built like that. We already there.
And they call them cities.
That's
smart
what this
cities.
1 point, huh?
Smart cities.
Yeah, exactly. That's what that $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill was all about. They need to upgrade the grid so that they can bring in that new technology so that they can build these new buildings where people are going to be landing on top of the condos. See, that's why they want everybody to live in a condo, a townhouse. They want to eventually, we're going to be coming in with our little flying car landing on the balcony. Or better yet, they want everybody landing on the rooftop inside of your flying taxi cabs. live in a condo, got a 14-story, 100-story tall condo, and then everybody land on the roof in the electric planes or whatever, the drone planes, and then they all go to work from the building to the rooftop of your office building. And that's how they get rid of a lot of these cars. But they make it all electric, where they controlling everything.
But it ain't about saving no planet, though.
No, it ain't never about making it convenience. It ain't about the climate. It's about making it where me and you, where they don't want us to be able to have access to do stuff. That's what it's about. They want full control. They want to be able to flip your car off. They be like, where he at? Turn this car off. You know what I'm saying? All right, my brother. Hey, man, if they want to get in contact with me, I'm at tjlofton.com is my website. They want to get a copy of my book, man, best-selling book, Monetizing Gentrification, signed copy. They can go to my website, tjlofton.com. All my social media is Thomas TJ Lofton, Loftin. You know, I got a class coming up on the 25th of March. I'll be in Marietta, 25th of March. I got a LANC class, land and new construction class. I'll be speaking this Sunday, this coming Saturday in Atlanta, Georgia at the Juneteenth gala. They're getting ready for Juneteenth to come up. They having an award ceremony.
Speak about Juneteenth when you're done. When you're done, speak about it. When you're done talking about that issue, speak about Juneteenth for a second.
Okay. So I'll be there this Saturday. I'll be at the Juneteenth Gala, which is an award ceremony for the people who participated in Juneteenth last year. And then I'll be March 4th. I'll be back here in Atlanta. I'll still be in Atlanta at the Cobb Galleria for the Black College Expo Atlanta. I'll be speaking there doing panel discussions. And then I'll be in California on the 17th through the 19th for the Remedy Conference. You know what I'm saying? That's an event where we got a lot of interesting conversations going on, a lot of speakers out there in Los Angeles, California. Then I'll be back here in Atlanta again. But yeah, Juneteenth is allegedly supposed to be the date that slavery, that's a good question. Is slavery supposed to be ended or something like that? Don't quote me, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't quote me on that. It went right over my head all of a sudden.
No, but
either way,
this is my thing. But you're talking about monetizing gentrification, but the federal government has monetized Juneteenth now.
Absolutely. That's what they always do. They made it legal for us. They say, okay, everybody can celebrate it now. It's a national holiday. So now you got all these other folks making Juneteenth ice cream and Juneteenth this and Juneteenth that. They monetizing the crap out of it. And that's what they do with everything we create. But we got to start fighting back. Huh?
Should we be insulted?
Of course. Of course. We need things to be ours. I don't get to sell no what's other races. I'm not over here selling Jewish holiday Hanukkah stuff and what do you call the other people? We just talked about them a minute ago. The Amish. I'm not selling Amish cookies and Amish stuff. I ain't over here monetizing their stuff. You know what I mean? That's theirs. Let them have that. Let us do ours, do us. But they don't want that. We're a market, so they want that market. But all right, my brother, I appreciate you, man.
Hey, look, man, I appreciate you too, man. Thanks for coming on and letting me know what time it is. Letting us know about the gentrification, things like that. These are efforts that got to be, really talked about because people don't understand. Hey, look, it's 2023, and we don't have a lot of time. So, with that being said, you take your time and keep on doing what you're doing for people in Georgia.
That's part right there. Appreciate you, fam. You have a good one. Keep on doing that great work you're doing. Peace.
Thank you, sir.